to hang up his cleats. It wasn't money he was after. He'd saved enough to live well after retirement. No, it was the records he wanted. Records set by his father, Bruce Devlin, when he'd played pro football. The same father who'd abandoned him. Shane would be damned if Bruce Devlin's name graced any NFL record books. No, he intended to break them all himself. Several teams out there were looking for a veteran quarterback, but Shane couldn't afford to just stand on the sidelines. He needed a starting gig. Hoping another player would blow out a knee tripping over his dog wasn't exactly good karma, but Shane was running out of options. And tonight, sitting at a bar in Cabo San Lucas after 36 holes of golf with a few sponsors, his luck may have just turned. He glanced down at the text on his cell phone again. The message on the screen, his talisman. Blaze QB out for season. Working on a deal now. Shane sucked in a lungful of air to calm himself as Mort edged closer. Stuffing his cell phone in his shorts, Shane stood, squaring his broad shoulders and puffing out his chest. The move had the desired effect. Mort stilled in mid-motion. You don't mind if the little lady snaps a photo of us, do you? Mort asked, apparently finally finding his manners. Hell yes, I do, Shane almost shouted. He bit it back, though, not wanting to listen to another lecture from his agent about playing nice with the folks who filled the stadiums, thereby funding his paycheck. Shane grabbed the beer bottle, discreetly tucking it behind his hip. Why not? It was all the invitation Mort needed. With a face-splitting grin, he handed the camera to a still leery Kitty and sidled up next to Shane, stretching up on his beefy legs so as to almost reach Shane's shoulder. The camera flashed twice, and while Shane's eyes recovered from the assault, Mort pulled up a chair to the table and sank down into it. Kitty dropped her oversized bag into another chair and dragged it toward Shane's table. Thanks, buddy. Let me buy you another beer, and you can catch me up on what your old man's been up to lately. Mort flagged down a waiter. No way was Shane sitting with Mort and Kitty to catch up on anything, much less his dear old dad, whom he hadn't spoken to more than a half-dozen times in the last 20 years. Shane scanned the patio for possible options to exit gracefully. He really wanted to head back to his room to wait for his agent's call. With any luck, he'd be signing with a new team tomorrow. Peals of pleasant laughter drew his attention to a table next to the bar where two women sat sharing a pitcher of margaritas. He'd run into them frequently throughout the weekend since they occupied one of the VIP bungalows near his. According to the resort's golf pro, the dark, vivacious one was a famous wedding gown designer. She'd brought along a dozen or so Victoria's Secret model wannabes to shoot a photo spread of her gowns at a nearby ancient Spanish church. Shane had steered clear of her, figuring any woman who touched wedding gowns, much less designed them, clearly had fantasies of wedding bells in her future. His game was football, not serious relationships. Avoiding her completely had become impossible because Shane was fascinated with observing the antics of the designer's assistant. She'd spent the weekend shuffling between the church and the resort's business office, all the while with a cell phone that, when it wasn't glued to her ear, chimed the theme to The Wizard of Oz. The taller of the two, she was also much fairer, her skin glowing a soft pink after several days in the sun. Her hair blew in long, chestnut waves, shimmering softly under the moonlight. But it was her eyes, the exact color of the blue Pacific waters caressing the sand along the Mexican resort, he found most interesting. Too bad they weren't as warm as the ocean they reflected. Every time he tried to start up a conversation with her, he was treated to a cold brush-off. Twice he'd offered to buy her a drink, only to get a polite but chilly refusal. The situation was a novel one for him. He was a professional athlete, for crying out loud. Wherever he went, women fell all over him. But not this woman. He wasn't used to having to work to get a woman to pay attention to him, and he was surprised at how much the effort seemed to turn him on. The magazine photographer joined the two women.